There's a lot of controversy and confusion related to a school's ability to test for dyslexia. So I'm here in my official capacity to set the record straight on two of the most common comments that I receive in relationship to the ability for schools to test. I'd like to prove that schools can, and fact and should, test for dyslexia. Let's start with myth number one, and that's just that schools can't test for dyslexia, which is 100% false. Let's set this straight. It is true that some states might not be doing it, but that doesn't mean that they weren't asked to by the federal government. In fact, the federal law gives them permission and even the expectation to identify students with dyslexia under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. So back in 2015, the Office of Special Education and Rehabilitative Services issued what's called the Dear Colleague letter. It clarified that nothing in IDEA prohibits schools from using the terms dyslexia, dysgraphia, or dyscalculia in evaluations, eligibility decisions, or IEPs. So not only can they test for it, they were asked to call it dyslexia instead of hiding behind vague labels like a specific learning disability in basic reading or basic reading fluency. Now, one small but important note: schools can identify dyslexia. They can't diagnose it. So schools are not providing DSM codes, but the outcome is still exactly the same. A child gets identified and receives support. So if you still don't believe me, not bad. Now, addressing myth number two. If a kid keeps good grades, the school doesn't have to test, which is wrong again. And that is a trap so many parents fall into. The law does not hinge on academic need, it hinges on educational need. Under IDEA, the trigger for testing isn't you're failing everything, it's whether a child may need special education or related service because of a suspected disability, and that is called child find. It means schools must locate and evaluate children who might have disabilities, regardless of whether their grades look fine. And here's a twist many people miss. Some kids with dyslexia do manage to keep grades up, but at what cost? Because they're working 500 times harder, staying up late, memorizing instead of reading, and often hiding how much they are struggling. That doesn't mean their brain isn't working. That doesn't mean their brain is working like everyone else's. And if we use sloppy language like academic need instead of educational need, we risk letting those kids slip through the cracks. So here's the bottom line. Just because your state or your school isn't testing doesn't mean that it can't be done. Federal law not only allows but expects identification of dyslexia under IDEA. We need to use precise words and understand the difference between educational and academic need, because you deserve answers and your child deserves that chance.